Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you to my class where we are gonna solve Cambridge IGCSE specimen paper of chemistry P4 for examination from 2023. So without wasting our time, let us start the paper. Element X can undergo the following physical changes. Okay, so figure 1.1 is very clear that the physical changes are taking place. And the question is, name each of the numbered physical changes shown in figure 1.1. Okay, so let us look at the diagram. Number one is melting, where solid is changing into liquid, which is melting, and number two is condensation, and number three is liquid is changing into solid, and there is freezing, and number four is liquid is changing into gases, which is boiling. So number one is melting. Number two is condensation. Number three is freezing. And number four is boiling. All right. So it's very easy for you to get all the 4 marks if we are very clear about the processes take place in physical changes. A2, one difference between boiling and evaporation is a rate at which the processes occur, right? State one other difference between boiling and evaporation. So instead of a rate, you have to give one other difference, and that can be boiling takes place at a fixed temperature, which is in fact the boiling point of that liquid. Temperature, while evaporation takes place at any temperature. Right. Moving on, B part of this question. Describe the separation, arrangement, and motion of particles of element X in solid state. As we know that in solid state particles, they are closely or tightly packed in layers. Okay. And as they are closely packed, so they cannot move on, so they just only vibrate about their mean position, right? So separation is closely packed or tightly packed, and arrangement obviously in order or in layers, in order, or you can also write in layers, and motion, they oscillate or they vibrate. All right. Moving on, C part. Element X is a group 3 metal. It burns in air to form an oxide X2O3, which is the formula of that oxide. Write a symbol equation for this reaction. So element X, when element X is a metal, so when metal is burned, So it means metal reacts with oxygen. Okay, and the formula of the compound, which is formed as a result of the chemical combination of X with oxygen, X2O3. If you're asked to write the balanced equation, so you obviously have to balance this equation. Oxygen is 3 on the product side and oxygen is 2 at the reactant side, right? So you have to equalize number of oxygen atoms. 3 will be multiplied by 2 to get 6 atoms of oxygen, and 2 multiplied by 3 to get 6, right? So this is how we balanced oxygen, and X became 2 to 2 to the 4. So just write 4, a coefficient before X to complete the balancing or a balanced symbol equation, right? Moving on, question number 2. Magnesium, calcium, and strontium are group 2 elements. Complete table 2.1 to show the electronic configuration of a calcium atom. As we know that calcium, the proton number of calcium is 20. So, and we also know that number of protons in an atom is always equal to the number of electrons. Calcium atom has 20 electrons as well. So electrons are divided in the first shell. You know that the first shell cannot have more than 2 electrons, and second shell will have 8 electrons. So this is how 10 electrons we have completed. All right, so third shell also, it can have maximum of 8 electrons, 2, 8, 8, and the remaining 2 electrons will be in the fourth shell. All right. Describe how the electronic configuration of a strontium atom is similar to the electronic configuration of calcium atom, because strontium belongs to group 2. So, and group describes the number of outer shell electrons. So outer shell electrons in calcium and strontium atoms will be same. Outer shell electrons. As the strontium is below calcium in the same group, so number of shells will increase. Okay, so different from the electronic configuration of calcium atom. So this is the difference, that the strontium atom has 1 more shell. So number of shells will be the difference, right? Moving on, calcium part C. Calcium reacts with cold water to form 2 products. A colorless gas P, which pops with a light at a splint, and it's very clear that this is a test for hydrogen gas. So gas P must be hydrogen gas. And the second bullet point is a weakly alkaline solution Q, which turns milky when carbon dioxide is bubbled through it. So first of all, the gas is hydrogen, because we know that when calcium reacts with cold water, okay, so it forms, whenever a metal reacts with cold water, the hydroxide of calcium, hydroxide of that metal is formed, right? So the here will be calcium hydroxide, and plus hydrogen comes out as hydrogen gas. So this is the balanced chemical equation. So we know very well that the gas P is hydrogen gas, and identify the ion responsible for making solution Q alkaline, obviously hydroxide. Hydroxide, this is a symbol of hydroxide, or you can also write in words hydroxide. Ion is basically responsible for making solution Q alkaline. Suggest the pH of this solution Q, as calcium hydroxide is weak alkali or weak base. So we will write the pH, or we will suggest the pH 10 to 11 or something like that, right? Because 13 and 14 is the pH of strong alkali. Write the simple equation for the reaction of calcium with cold water, which we have mentioned over here for when we were working out. Okay, so just copy and paste that equation. Calcium plus 2 moles of water gives out calcium hydroxide and plus hydrogen gas. Right, so moving on, the part D of this question. Magnesium reacts with chlorine to form magnesium chloride, and this is the formula of magnesium chloride, MgCl2. Magnesium chloride is an ionic compound because obviously it is formed between a metal and non-metal. So complete the dot and cross diagram in figure 2.1 of the ions in magnesium chloride. Show the charges on the ions. We have to complete the dot and cross diagram, and we have to show the charges on the ions. Okay, so just let us complete first. There are 2 electrons in the first shell, and you know that magnesium atom has 12 electrons in total, right? So 2, and in the second shell it will have 8 electrons, right? And in the third shell it has 2 electrons, right? But 2 electrons has been lost when magnesium becomes ion with 2 positive charge, right? So chlorine has 17 electrons in total in its atom, right? And already 10 electrons are mentioned in chlorine atom, so 7 electrons will be revolving around the nucleus in third shell, right? 7 electrons. But in ionic compound, chlorine atom gained the electron which were lost by magnesium atoms. Okay, so these are 7 electrons of chlorine atom, and 1 electron it gained from magnesium atom out of 2 electrons which were lost by magnesium atom, right? And the second electron gained by another chlorine atom to equalize the number of electrons lost and gained. All right, so this is the electron which is transferred from magnesium atom. So magnesium lost 2 electrons, and which were gained 1 by each chlorine atom. So this is how 1 magnesium combined with 2 chlorine atom, and obviously these chlorine atom will get 1 negative charge as they gained 1 electron. One physical property typical of ionic compounds such as magnesium chloride is that they are soluble in water. So this physical property is related to or regarding solubility of the ionic compound. Give 2 other physical properties that are typical of ionic compounds. So you can write physical properties in terms of melting and boiling points. So first of all, let us do. So it has magnesium chloride has high melting and boiling point. Why? Because it is an ionic compound, and you know that melting and boiling point relates or refers to the structure of ionic compound, and that is giant ionic lattice. All right. And the second property you can write as conductivity, because magnesium chloride is a good conductor of electricity. Good conductor of electricity, right? But conditionally, because when ionic compound has free ions to move, and that is only possible when the physical state of conductor is liquid. Liquid might be molten or dissolved in water to make its aqueous solution, right? E part. Aqueous silver nitrate is added to aqueous magnesium chloride. A white precipitate forms. And we are asked to write an ionic equation for this reaction, right? So let us look at the reaction first. Silver nitrate, all right, which is aqueous solution, plus magnesium chloride, which is also aqueous, means soluble salt, right? So when two solutions, they are added together, so what happens? A double displacement reaction occurs in which cation of silver nitrate will combine with anion of magnesium chloride to form AgCl silver chloride, which is insoluble salt, so we will write state symbol S, right? And cation of magnesium chloride reacts or combines with nitrate to form magnesium nitrate, all right, and which is, all nitrate salts are soluble, so we will write aqueous. This reaction is called precipitation reaction, in which two soluble salts, when they combine to form two new salts, one of them is insoluble salt, and this insoluble salt basically appears as white precipitate, right? An ionic equation for precipitation reaction is always the formation of the insoluble salt from its ions. Okay, so how can you write the balance equation 2 and 2? When we write 2 here and 2 here, so this makes this chemical equation balanced. So 2 silver ions in aqueous state plus 2 chloride in aqueous state, when they combine, 2 moles of silver chloride is formed in solid state. So this is the ionic equation for this precipitation reaction. Hope you find this video beneficial for you. So the rest of the questions we'll be doing in very next episode. If you like this video, please subscribe and share with your friends. Till the next video, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.